Hi, good morning to all of you. Uh, Yesterday we were talking about input box, and we noticed that that NG model was not working. As per the documentation, NG model is depending on forms control, as it has been told by one of the co-organizer. So we need to have a forms module added. So I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm once you are able to see my screen. I just shared my screen. Please confirm once you are able to see. And voice is it audible? Please raise your hand in case you are able to see the screen and voice is clear. Okay, perfect. So I'm also seeing nobody is raising nowadays questions or anything. I hope you are all having the Angular installed and you are able to practice what we are taking up in the class. I'm assuming that because interaction is very less, so I'm not sure. As I said, it is an online session. It is very difficult to recognize the face and then act accordingly. We are just believing that you are able to follow. If not, you are expected to raise your questions, take your clarifications then and there. Okay, so in app module, I've just added that forms module. This is a forms module. This is required one for adding the forms. It is not part of material. Please note, it is not part of material. It is directly Angular/forms. So that is where this forms module needs to be added. I've added the other modules also before because these are all the other items that we are going to take. I have just added it and kept it ready as well. Whatever module that I add, that needs to be imported as well. Modules are to be imported. Components, in case if you have a component needs to be added in the declarations. So declarations is for component, import is for modules. So form module, select, that is multi-select or a single select event we are going to check. Checkbox we are going to work on. Radio button we are going to work on. So I have added that as part of the import module because I'm keep forgetting that. So I don't want that to happen. So I just added that before. The syntax of this, I have taken it from the components that is here. I'll just go to the website from this point, Angular material components. From this point, from this place, I have taken the syntax of checkbox, select checkbox, go to API, the top line item. I have taken the syntax from here. So it is not that I am remembered everything. I just taken it, copy pasted from there. Because this is not developed by us, it is nothing wrong in copy paste and importing that here. Right? NG model is part of forms module and it is part of Angular forms. And I need not use Angular forms. I just yesterday whatever the class we have taken, align, center, style. So one is fill, another is outline, another is for float label never. And used here person name ng model. This ng model is two-way binding. One is output, another is square braces is for input, that is putting the data inside this input. That is, I'm typing it inside the input, I'm putting the param name. The param name is defined here yesterday. Param name hello. So this hello person name, so I'll use say Ankita. I use say Ankita K. So this is one name I'm giving, param name Ankita K, that is param name. This value will now appear as part of the input box because I have done a two-way binding and param name I have given as a value. So the param name is declared in the app component.ts file. It has got declared. It is part of the class. So it has got declared here. That hard-coded value is getting used here. Later I can change the value. When I change the value, because I've used the two-way binding, that value gets reflected back to the param name. That means get IP value, this param name will give the changed value. If you have done the change in the HTML, it will give the change value. We'll see that. I have not started the ng serve, so I'll just start that ng serve. Node command prompt d drive cd projects, not projects, it is under upskill. This is my directory place, fsdev full stack development. In that, ngserve is the compiler that I just created. It will publish the web page as well. Feel free to ask your questions. Don't hesitate. Of course, it looks like we are fast or something. Please let us know, so that then and there we will clear it, because these are all starting up thing. Day after tomorrow we'll be integrating backend. That means one more backend. Right now we have a component.ts. We'll have a server, established server. So we'll link this UI, whatever we create in the UI, we are trying to link it to that inner layer middleware. From there to the DB. That is what we are going to cover up within this week. Today is we are covering up component level. Then we are taking up at component.ts, that is code behind the component. These are all part of the browser itself. Whatever currently we are doing, it is part of the browser. The Angular material, it is part of the browser. Once this is completed, once if you go back to just local host, before I do the local host, I take the inspect element, go to the network just to show you. I clear it and then I put the local host now. Once, as soon as I put the local host, you can see here the files are getting loaded here, right? Automatically the files are getting loaded. This main.js is also loading the data. You can see the entire code base here. Whatever I have typed here, param, etc., it will appear here. Ankita K, right? It has created a component, class, constructor, on click button. All this has got created. This is part of the browser now. So in this, we have this get input value. You can see a console log. Because of this, it is going to do the console log. It is part of main.js. He has automatically compiled my TS file as part of the JS file. That is part of the Angular compilation. It has happened. So whatever we are doing here, we are doing it as part of the front end. And it is a browser work. You can see Ankita K. You can, I just remove the name. I just put another name, say Krishnan V, right? Krishnan V. If I put enter or a tab, right? Blur. We have used blur. Blur means moving to the next component. You can see in the backend console log. You can see input values Krishnan V that has got typed here. So that is how this binding happens. For this binding to happen, I need to ensure that I use the module called forms module, Angular forms. That is important for ng model to work. And forms module is a common module in Angular JS. So it is always, we all load that component before. The current way of binding is called two-way binding. If I just don't bind it here, if I remove this, this is the experiment you need to do. If I don't do this, what will happen? If I try to save this, right? I don't know inner binding. Normal bracket is for output. Square braces is for input. Input means inside. outside this tag. Output means outside the tag. Just see what happens. fsdev, that Ankita name is not appearing here. You now notice that Ankita name is not appearing here. Now I just put Krishnan V tab. Now that is, if I go back to the console log, that you can see now that Krishnan V is also not appearing at this level, right? Neither, so it has to be double way binding. If I remove this, what happens? All this experiment you need to do, then only you are finished the learning. Otherwise, you are not finished the learning, you are done a cut and paste. So you should know how the system behaves. So now you can see Ankita has come. I am just putting Krishnan now. Right, tab, I have done. Now you can see now the input is still Ankita, the transfer has not happened. The transfer of data has not happened because it is one-sided binding. Two-way binding means this is the one two-way binding, input and output. Two-way binding. So only one way, giving only the output is of no use. Only giving a square braces, it will take it inside, but you will not get it out. If I want both the side, then it is square braces and the normal bracket, right? Then you can see here the compilation is done. Page is getting loaded. I am changing it now. Krish V tab. You can see here Krish V. The input value is now modified to the Krish V, and that is stored against the parameter name. That is stored against the param name. This param name is nothing but my input parameter name, right? So this is very important for you to understand. Yesterday we also noticed that this float label is doesn't work when you are having appearance. When you are giving the appearance, this float label doesn't work. That means never doesn't work. So if for never to work, we also notice that appearance has to be there. Sorry, appearance should not be there as part of your form field. This also we have noticed here. So this person name, it will not go as a top. A name will not be going as a top label. Okay, so these are all what we have seen yesterday. So mistake was ng model was right, but we have not included the module. So now having included the module, it has now come up. The next thing that we are going to see is I'm going to the checkbox. Let us take the checkbox. So I want to now create a checkbox, copy pasted this module. Without module, it will not work. So we have taken care of. So checkbox, simple thing. You can have a intermediate, that means partially selected. You can see an intermediate, fully selected. You can see a full checkbox. Automatically it is getting updated. I remove it from top, all are removed. Check me, it is like this, disabled. So it is disabled. How would the disabled will look like? So to know about this HTML, you can take it from here. Understand this. I'm not going to confuse you. I'll just take a simple checkbox. I'll just type it here. I'll put it as a separate div. I'll put it as a separate div, mat. Again, mat checkbox is not a block candidate. It is a span candidate. That means it is an inline candidate. So mat checkbox. As soon as I close it, Visual Studio Editor automatically gives the end tag also. So checkbox, I just give a value, my checkbox, right? And I want to give a color to the checkbox. Color, primary means primary, blue color will appear. If it is my checkbox, second, again, please note, it is not a, even though I put it onto the next line, 1. I use these two colors now, right? This is coming from, there are three colors used: primary, accent, accent, 1. There are three colors used. So here I just give a div. Okay, let it be as it is. Save it. I just use matte checkbox. Color I have done. Checkbox I have done. Just see what happens here. You can see the checkbox is appearing here. Primary, this checkbox is red color because I have given for this primary this one. So you can see there is no between two checkboxes because it's a span element. Since it is a span element, it is appearing side by side, right? So if I want to make sure div align center, right? And I just give what style is it? There is a gap, so I leave it off at this. So I hope you have noted down how do I drill down. For this, I want to apply the class. Generally, the class is left or right. So style, right, margin right, colon, say 16 pixel. I made it a center, style, margin right. I made it as 16 pixel. Then you can see what happens. Between one checkbox and another checkbox, there is a gap now, right? There is a gap between the first checkbox and the second checkbox. Second checkbox still in the red color. The first checkbox is still on the blue color because of this style, primary warning. I want to pass this value. I want to take out this value out, right? Then what to do? If you go to the API, let us know what command I need to use to send that out. So that is mat checkbox. Selector is mat checkbox. Input means I'm taking inside the value. I want to see how to output. I want to check what is the output. Output is event emitter. Whenever output is event emitter, that means I have to use like this. Event emitter means what? That is what output is. Output is what name? Change. Change is the name. Change is the name. Change is the name. This is the output, like click event. Change is the event. Mangular material supports change event. On check, right? On check dollar event. Dollar event. On check dollar event. Control C. I put it to the next one also. So I just put on check event, on check event. Let us see what is inside this event. What is inside this event, right? My checkbox 2, my checkbox 1. Let it be like this, so that there is a differentiator between this checkbox and this checkbox. Please note I am using the same method. When I am using the same method, I may have to give the value check 1 because system doesn't know what value you are checking, right? I am giving a parameter called check 1, check 2. So I know now when this event comes, what is that event? We'll see it now. I'm on check. I copy this. On blur, on input, on change, on check. On check, I've taken the event, change checkbox or on check. I'll put it that here. On check. On check change, event got changed. Event, there are two parameters I've used. One is name of the checkbox, string. It is a string. Name of the checkbox is a string. Event, then name. Then I put event name. So event.checked is another parameter I've used. Full event I know, so that I'll come to know what is the event. It is there. Save as. come back, it will get compiled. There is some error. Let us see the error. Match checkbox, unexpected closing of the match checkbox, unexpected closing. Okay, that is because the reason is I have used double quotes. Here also double quotes, here also double quotes. So that is wrong. So I use a single quote here. Right? I use the single quote here because this entire thing is double quotes. Beginning one quote, end one quote. So now I'm just changing because I need a string. I'm using a single quotes here. Don't afraid of error. Error always teaches you. Might be some minor mistake. It always teaches you. Right? So I'm compiling again. It says again some problem on blur column 16 even double check double comma. There is a double comma somewhere. There is a double comma. There is a double comma. Because of that, there was a problem. Again, I save it. Now it has got compiled. You got the checkbox 1, checkbox 2, right? You have this console log enabled. So I'm going to checkbox 1. I'm going to click. You can see here on check. This is my entire event. Checked is true. Source. This is my source. So these are all my source. All the elements are listed for you to understand what it is. You can see here ID is taken as mat checkbox 1. Mat checkbox 1 is taken as an ID. Right? This is the ID he is representing. Unique ID mat checkbox. He has given its own ID. I am giving another mat checkbox to here. I checked here. That is my second one. Source. So you can see here mat checkbox 2. This name, it is given by him. He himself is giving that name. Always important. ID is a parameter which is generally unique. You need to use that parameter. Check this true. If I just uncheck it, uncheck, one more will be there. One more will come below. Now you can see check this false. Right? The ID is same. ID is mat checkbox 2. So he, based on the number of checkbox used, he is associating an ID to that event. You can give your own ID parameter as well. You can give your own ID parameter as well. I just give ID equal to my check 1. Let us see what happens if I give this. ID is a very important candidate for automation. If you are doing an automation, etc., you need to, because ID, using ID, Selenium or any tool that you use, it is very easy to pick up that element, right? Otherwise, it becomes difficult to identify the element uniquely. So my check 1, my check 2 I have given. Compilation is done. So compilation is done. Loading is done. I just go with my checkbox 1, open that here, open the source. You can see here ID is changed to what we have given. So our whatever we give it in the UI, that takes predominance. Then if it is not given, he assign it with the unique ID. Right? So that is the match checkbox source dot, for example, if I want data outside, go here, name my event dot source dot id. If I give this, you can see what happens. Because there is a event, there is a source tag, because that is what we have seen it in our thing. I just again click, it will be cleared. It has got cleared. I check again. Now you can see here my check 1 ID is represented here. On check, change, true. Check 1 is the one that we have given as the input parameter, as a parameter. My check 1 is the ID name. So the ID name, if I want to get it outside, I know which checkbox has got modified. If I put my checkbox 2, you can see now my check 2. My check 2, check 2. This is what I have given as a parameter. I'm going back to the code. This is what I have given as a parameter here, check 2, check 1. Right? ID, my check 1, my check 2, that is ID. So I have taken the ID from event.source. I may not know what is inside the event. So I printed the entire event so that what are all inside that event I will come to know. Why I have used the event? The reason for me to use the event is in output change, he has given it as event emitter. Event emitter means it is a dollar event. Event emitter is always represented by dollar event. So the dollar event gets that entire data set and it is being passed on to the code behind. And that is why you are able to see that data. This is how checkbox works. So checkbox, this is the activity we generally do. We check, uncheck, all that we do. So intermediate change, there is an intermediate change. If you want to apply, you can get that. That is also an event emitter. If it is in intermediate stage status, it will give a boolean. Otherwise, it will not give a boolean, right? So tab index is there, etc. These are all the possibilities. You can do a focus. That is the methods available. If focus, it will give a output. So these are all the available information on that checkbox. These are all the activity you can do on that checkbox. That is coming through API reference. So any questions as of now before I move on? Any questions? Please feel free to ask. What is M and U after the file name in the Explorer? In the Explorer, what is, please confirm, is my screen visible or not visible? Please confirm.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
says it is visible. Okay. What is M and U after the file name in Explorer? In Explorer. Explorer is here. Okay. In Explorer, what is M and U? This one you are saying it is modified. This is untracked. Oh, okay. This is for GitHub. Oh, this is for GitHub. I'm not connected to GitHub. If I create a project in GitHub, for GitHub, this is an update. That means new files. Whereas these are all modified files. M is for modification. U is for new file. Update to happen to the GitHub. For GitHub, this data is not available. Right now, I am not connected to GitHub, but internally, GitHub account is created for my local, not to the global repository. In local, it has got created. Okay. So that is the only question that I have seen. Anything else, please feel free to add your questions. Okay. Now I'm going to the select options, another most important components. So for any UI, if you know input, how to handle an input, different types of input is there. I'll take that as we go. Input is there. Second, button. Third, checkbox. Fourth, drop down. That is what we are going to see. Select is nothing but a drop down. Fifth, radio button. So if you know all this, these 5 important elements, more or less you can complete the development, right? The additional components, as the demand arises, we can learn. Another important component is grid. Grid is basically table structure. Table is very important component that I'll take up little later. Let us now go to what I was telling, select. Select is nothing but, as I said, it is a drop down. There are different types of select you can use. Let us just understand what that select means. Select is the name that you need to look for. That is a drop down. So first is understand the API. We need to import this, which I have already done, because I am keep on forgetting. Because of that, I have already done that mat select module. I have already done. Checkbox module, we have already completed. Mat select module, we have done. So the same cut and paste I did. So select what is the syntax. We can take one help, say basic. Let me just do that HTML. It will say mat form field because it's all related to form field character. Wrapper, label is there, select is there with multiple option is there. So let me just take this, copy this and put it. Sorry. I'll use material view mat select option. I'll use this. I will not use this ng for now. I'll use it little later. For time being, I'll just copy paste here. Same thing. H4 mat select field is appearance fill. Favorite food is there. Instead of ng4 option, I just say food. Right. So some name I'll give. So apple. Right, fruits, I'll say food is there. Okay, I'll put water food. I'll just take curd, curd rice. Right, I'll put it here. Value is CR. Another option, mat option 2. What else? Chapati. Value is CH. Some name, some unique value I'm just giving. Keep on giving here. Mat option. I take another one is lemon rice. Right, value LR. Curd rice, chapati, it's not rice, chapati, select. So it is favorite food is the label, mat select is the option, option 1, option 2, option 3. Please note I have not done any output here, I am just displaying the content here. Make sure it compiles perfectly. There is a failure, LR, oh okay. These are all, when I give here like this, it is an input binder, right? So since it's an input binder, I need to make sure it is a variable. Right now, CR, CH, LR are not variable. It is a value, direct value for me. Because of that, I'm taking out the input binding. Input binding is required when I pass the variable here, param name. Param name is a variable. So I use the input binder. If param name is, I am giving a direct input value, direct value, then I should not use the input binder. The mistakes will teach you. Sometimes we assume that it's all known, so it is compiled now properly. I go back, go to that FSDev. You can see here my basic mat select, favorite food, drop down. Say the way the drop down appear, it is all predefined by its own classes. Chapati, I lemon rice, I go to curd rice, all these are automatically getting selected. Since it is a appearance fill, so I can take out this appearance fill as well. Then I can say float label equal to never. That means you will not see that label in the top. If there is no value selected, you will see the label. So, spelling mistake. Mat found fill. Oh. Oh. Okay. Control Fs. Compilation happened. So now favorite food, curd rice, you can see now there is no form label. Simple to change. I want to keep it in the middle. As usual, put it inside the div. Put it inside the div. Copy paste. Put it here. Div. Align the div. Center. Align the div center. Control Fs. Saved it. Now you can see now it has moved to the right hand side. that is center. Right now, I want to pass the value. I want to, when I change, I want to pass the value behind the scene. What value is selected now? So to do that, first is go back to the API, understand what is the output API in mat select. Try to see what is, you see where which component you are in. You are in mat select. Mat select means this tag. You are in this tag. Option means you are in this tag. Right now, we wanted to see it is in the part of mat select. Output, I want to see the output. I'm worried on output. Output, again, it is event emitter. That is for opened change. That means whether the drop down is opened or not. Selection change, event emitter, output. So I want selection change. Whenever there is a selection change, please note it was part of the mat select. Whenever it is an output, output means one normal braces on select change. On select change. So I put it within this. It's an event emitter. So I put the event. $event. This I will come back to the app component on select, drop down select. I on select change. Event it is. So $event. So event any. I'll put any. If I don't know what type of the data it is, I'll just put a any here. Event. So I'll put now event here. I just type that event here. Let us see what is this coming out. Save it. On select change. This is the one. Make sure come back to the HTML. On select change. Make sure this and that function name is matching. It is on selection change. How I got the selection change? I got it because in my API output under mat select property, under mat select output is selection change. That is the word it is used. So I use the same word from here and it is an event emitter. Because it is an event emitter, I want use $event. For where you want to pass the data, you want to pass the data to this function, and where this function is called, this function is part of my app component .ts file. On select change event, I don't know the data type, so I make it as any, and then selected value event. I now finished, ready. Save it, make sure the compilation is taken care. Yes, it is taken care. No error. Come back to fsdev. So favorite food, keep your this one on, your console log on. Favorite board, I just chapati. You can see here value, mat select change, source, value is ch. Value is what I am interested in. Source, you can see the source. You can see the source. There are so many things he has given. Okay. So value is ch is the value that we are interested in. That value attribute it is independent of source. So independent of source, I can now I know what value I have taken. I can directly give the value here. I'll go back to the code. Instead of event selected event dot value. I can type directly the value, save it, come back, browser, favorite food, curd rice, check your CR, then lemon rice, LR, right? Chapati, then it is CH. So all appearing as we have given the value in our options. In options, whatever the value we have given, that value is used as a output. What you give it in the wording, it is only presentation in the UI. What value you have assigned, that value is what is being transferred out. Right? You can give the same name here. Nobody stops you. You can give the same name here. Nobody stops you as well. Usually it can be even a JSON. Even it can be a JSON. That is also allowed. Those are all the experiments you have to do. Now, this is what it is my options are hard coded. Most of the time it will not be like this. Most of the time how it will be? The database, it will be like country. My country list is coming from database. My state list is coming from database. From database, I need to bind it. Then in such situation, just to explain this here, I'll just make one execution. Favorite food, say lemon rice, go back. You can see a lemon rice full name because the value has been changed. Just to give a heads up. Now I don't want hard coded value. I want the same thing. I want it do it in differently. What I'll do is I'll put here ff favorite food equals array. I use an array. I use a CR, within quotes. I'm giving within quotes because these are all string for me. LR, chapati, CH. Whatever we have given before, I'm just giving it as part of the array. There are two ways I can give it. One, I can give it like this, name value pair. Name, colon, right? Curd rice, right? Then value equals, colon, CR, another JSON. One JSON is over. Another JSON, copy paste this. Another JSON, instead of curd rice, I'll say lemon rice. Lemon rice. Value is LR. Another JSON, remove this. I can give it in this way also. It need not be a simple array. Then I have chapati, CH, chapati, right? So I am giving ff as my global variable. In that variable, I have assigned array, I have given it as ff name value pair. Name is lemon rice, name is chapati, value is whatever. This ff, I want to use it in my code. Then I just copy paste this to modify it. I'll just copy paste one level below. Match select from array. Okay. Now option, what you have to do here is remove this option. This is where looping is used. Loop is always used with star ng for. I'm using for loop now. Star representing that it is a directive, it is a unique directive where it's a conditional or for loop statement or anything. I remove all this, keep it empty, keep it empty. So ng for let say favorite food f of ff, f of ff, paste here. What is the want? What if I want to pass the parameter? I need to ensure it is curly braces. F dot name is what I want to pass it as, right? Then if I want to auto select something, that's a different. So since I've used ng for, it is equal to, ng for command is let equal to, it is like this. The syntax is like this. ng for equals let f of ff. Ff is the global variable. Out of this ff, I am taking one candidate. Generally, space is not given between the variables in HTML side, whereas in it all depends. Of course, it's all the way you wanted to set it. So ng for is the event. It's a loop event. I am giving a f name, and I want to pass the value. So I want to pass the value. So ff dot F name is what I have selected. I want to pass the value selection change, right? FF event. So I can also two-way binding I can do. Value I can substitute here. Two-way binding, value, right? I can give a two-way binding here. If you go back here, overview, code. If you see here, label value Volvo, this is the one, ng for view value, value food. I can give it, it's a single way binding as we have done before. Okay, this I will take it up later. Let me just finish here with single way binding as we have done it in our this value. Now this value is normal. I am using now f dot value. F is my name, value is nothing but f dot value. It is a single binding, input binding. So I just given that. Let us execute, see what happens. I have executed. Make sure there is no error. If error is there, you will get a thing favorite food, curd rice, lemon rice, because it is selected as name. But unfortunately, on select change. Okay, same on select change is there. So that means this also will work. LR value is LR because I have given value as f dot value. So I can pass the entire f also as part of the value. I don't want the f dot value. I want to pass this entire JSON because there are other parameters involved. So compiled lemon rice. Now you can see entire JSON has come. Name lemon rice, value LR. The entire JSON has come because I've used as F because F is here. Okay. So I end with this today. Tomorrow we'll talk about more on what do you call radio button and other stuff. Forms and radio buttons tomorrow we'll take. Basic forms. That is where our actual starting point is. Basic forms will tie up the basic forms. And also I want you now, I want the value, default value to be passed here. I just want you to just see whether what is the possibility of that. I want to assign a default value to this. That's where that local binding will be of use. I leave it to you. I just want you to do that and see whether you are able to achieve it or not. Okay. Any questions? Let me know before I'll hand it over to the team. Any questions? Please let me know. Okay. Nothing. Thanks a lot. Please, our team will take over for practice session. Make sure you all practice and ensure while creating checkbox, match checkbox is not a known element, error is showing. That is because please make sure that module is added. Module, match checkbox module is added. Without this, it will say not a known element. This module needs to be added. Please ensure that. That's why I have added it before because I know I'm going to take this classes and I just added it because yesterday we failed. Okay. Okay then. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Recording can be stopped.